It was the last week of high school. I was about to graduate from Adelphia Yeshiva. I was really excited to start the next chapter of my life. I was going to go to Passaic the next year. When suddenly Rabbi David Schrank, my Rebbe, walks into the Beis Medrash, sits down next to me, and he says, Yoeli, I want you to stay next year in Adelphia to help build the Beis Medrash. And my heart dropped. At that time, the Beis Medrash consisted of 3 guys. If I would stay, I'd be the 4th. It wasn't much of a Beis Medrash, and I said, Rebbe, you know I'm going to Passaic next year. I can't stay. He said, Yoeli, please. It's very hard to say no to Rabbi Schrank. So I told him, Rebbe, let me sleep on it. The next day, Rabbi Schrank comes back into the Beis Medrash and he says, Yoeli, get into the car. I said, Rebbe, where are we going? He says, I'll tell you on the way. I get into a station wagon and we start driving down Route 9. As we get onto the Staten Island Expressway, he said, Yoeli, I'm taking you to a Din Torah. I said, what? A Din Torah? He said, I'm taking you to Rav Shmuel Berenbaum, the Zakan Rosh HaYeshivas. We're going to ask him if you should stay next year. Half hour later, we pull up to Rav Shmuel's house. Rav Shmuel invites us into his house. We sit down, and Rabbi Schrank starts crying. And he says, Rebbe, Yoeli spent 4 years in Adelphia. I want him to stay another year to help build a Beis Medrash. Please tell him to stay. So Rav Shmuel turns to me. He puts his hand on my hand. He says, no. What do you say? With a quivering voice, I say, Rosh Hashiva, I'm so grateful to Rabbi Schrank. I'm so grateful to Adelphia. But I feel it's time to move on. I'm going to learn better in Passaic. He says, you'll be able to learn better over there? Then go. I turn to Rabbi Schrank and I see Rabbi Schrank has a faint smile on his face. We get back into the car and we drive back. We didn't say another word. The next year I went to Passaic. And periodically, every now and then, Rabbi Schrank would show up to the Beis Medrash in Passaic, walk right over to my seat, pick me up, give me the biggest hug, and he would say, Yoeli, I'm so proud of you. 20 years later, I get a call from Rebbetzin Schrank, and she tells me the sad news that Rebbe had passed away. I flew from LA to Lakewood, and the entire time on the flight, I kept thinking, reviewing, reflecting on my relationship with Rebbe throughout the years. And suddenly I remembered that episode, that incident of Rebbe trying to get me to stay, and I left anyway. And I felt so guilty. After the Shiva, I called Rebbetzin Schrank and I said, Rebbetzin, do you remember what happened 20 years ago? I feel like I owe Rebbe an apology. And she starts laughing and she says, Yoeli, you do not owe my husband an apology. He knew that it was time for you to go. He knew you have to leave. But he also wanted you to know how much he wanted you to stay. How much he valued you. Because as you go out into life and you face challenges, setbacks, and struggles like everybody else, always remember that you are worth fighting for. It was like a light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, wow. I thought back to the past 20 years and I realized that subconsciously, anytime I struggled with something, I kept fighting because Rabbi Schrank put it into my nervous system that I'm worth fighting for. And today, I want to pass that message on to you because it's true for everybody. You are also worth fighting for. Your Shmiras Einayim, your Ruchnias, is worth fighting for. So it doesn't matter how many setbacks you have, how many challenges you face, how many times you fell, how many times you failed, 1,000, 10,000 times, it doesn't matter. Keep getting up, keep fighting. Because like Rabbi Schrank says, you are worth fighting for.